on, Tracy, let's see that big forehand. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Match Points with USPTA. I'm Ramona Husaro and I'm super excited for my guest today, Tracy Almeda-Singian. Tracy, so fun to have you on here.
Hey Ramona, thanks for having me.
Awesome, I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Our viewers probably know that you've played on the Pro Tour for many years. You reached a career high of 159 WTA. Then you transitioned into coaching and then marketing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate, tennis has been such a big part of my life and has really brought me everything that I even get to do in marketing today. I got injured pretty early in my career. I was about 21 years old, and then I landed at Kiwi Tennis Club in Indian Harbor Beach, Florida. Taught a lot of, high performance juniors as well as adults, and from there, I was like, what else can I do? Tennis is a big part of what I do, but I get bored very easily, so I always like to challenge myself. And one of the things I said, I think I can run a pro tennis tournament. So my first marketing effort was a USPTA Pro Circuit Challenger event. And my goal was to make it feel more like a tour event at a challenger level. And so I really was able to work with the local hospitals, work with the local Mercedes dealership, and how do I start curating a sponsorship effort? And everybody really got behind the event, became a community event. And we were able to raise $100,000 to put people through nursing school.
Wow.
And so that was my first event. As you know, challengers don't normally make money. So for us to be able to not only put on a great event for the players, but to raise money for our community was amazing.
That's really cool. Tell us a little bit about the skills that you already had from tennis that you were already able to implement in these next roles that you had, and what other skills did you have to learn?
Tennis brings you so many great skills and qualities, right? One thing off the bat, you're 8 or 9 years old and you're playing a tournament, you're having to call your own lines. Confidence, just having confidence in yourself, confidence to try something new is something that I think tennis really gives you right off the bat. And then strategic thinking, being able to figure out how to beat your opponent and finding out a strategy, thinking about how am I going to make something happen like a pro tournament when I've never done it before, right? So it's really building that plan, and everybody talks about short-term and long-term goals, and I think you have to do that even when you're marketing, playing tennis. It all kind of fits together in that way.
That's awesome. So I love you talked about the confidence, the strategic planning. I mean, you had all these skills. Tell us a little bit about the other skills that you needed to constantly develop and improve as you continue to advance in marketing.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing maybe we take for granted in tennis in general is the relationships that we're able to build. I think you are able to meet so many different types of people. It's global. So our networks are something that are really an advantage over other sports in that way. It's a global network, and I wouldn't have been fortunate enough to land at Wilson or Red Bull or the NBA without the network that I had established as a tennis player. People that I met from tennis were ones that recommended me, that said, hey, at least take a look at her, right? So I've always been fortunate that way, and I think always don't underestimate what tennis gives you in that way.
I'm so glad you mentioned that you worked at Wilson, then you went to Red Bull, then you went to the NBA at the Pelicans, CCU, and now at Citibank. I mean, you've held these amazing roles, you've learned a lot. So tell us a little bit about that. How did one role lead to the other?
Yeah, I mean, I think tennis really, that entrepreneurship of being a pro at a club really helped me have the confidence to, go after different things. I would have never thought that I would be in finance today, right? But it's always challenging yourself to do something new. And I think with pros, they're fortunate enough to run their own businesses. They are entrepreneurs, every day. They have to be marketing, they have to be communications, they have to be, business leaders. That's why I'm glad that we're here today to be able to really talk about how we can help pros market their own business.
Great, so I'm glad you brought this up. So let's start with the basics. What do our coaches need to know about marketing?
So before we get into really the nitty-gritty of marketing, I think everybody really needs to realize who they are as a person, right? And what they stand for as a coach. And being able to establish your coaching philosophy is always the first thing, right? And when you start thinking about social media and how you're going to market yourself, what are those 3 things that tie to your coaching philosophy? So if you look at someone's social media, for instance mine, because I'm in marketing overall, I want to show that I'm a marketing expert. I want to show that I'm having fun in whatever I do, and that I'm really family oriented. So it has a breadth of who I am as an individual and as a pro, right? tennis player and as a pro marketer.
Great. So it sounds like it's the rule of three, making sure that your brand is at least defined by three main things. And I really like that you emphasize the fun and also about like what do you stand for? What is your personal brand? What is that philosophy? And I think coaches will find this very helpful as they continue to develop their own brand and continue to market themselves. Now, you mentioned social media, and we know that social media pretty much changed the game of marketing, right? There's constant new apps and enhanced features every year. And for some of our coaches that have been doing social media for a long time, it's quite easy. And for some that are maybe just starting out, it can be a little bit challenging. So tell us the basics of social media. What do coaches need to understand?
Yeah, one is have a plan. Don't just start shooting sort of willy-nilly. You want to make sure that you have an understanding of what you're trying to shoot. It'll make it easier, and it doesn't need to be so complicated. It needs to be fun. You know, people like to have fun. Some of the best videos that people share are really the ones that show fun in their element, and tennis is fun, right? And so we can't forget that.
Okay, great. So tell us what makes great social media content.
Well, I just rather not talk about it. You know, I mean, we're on a tennis court. This is a sport, right? So let's go shoot something. I think it's better, you know, we shoot a tip and we'll give some like details of how to make good content.
Awesome.
What do you think?
Let's go for it.
All right, let's go. So before we get started, I just want to give everybody a little bit of a look at a very simple tripod. You know, having a couple of tripods to help you create the content is always helpful. You can get it at any big box store, and it's actually under $10. So not a heavy investment, but will really help make the content look a little bit sharper. So then the second part of that is, let's remember to shoot vertical. One of the things that you'll see on most of the social media platforms today is that they're really prioritizing vertical content. All right, so like, let's get into it, Ramona. What should we shoot?
What's your favorite drill?
So yeah, one of my favorite drills growing up, you know, was something that I got from Jose Higueras, and that's the ball toss drill. And when we start looking at filming, you know, anything, what are the three takeaways, right? What places do we really want to isolate? So for the ball toss, let's look at the start, the split, and your first step towards the ball, because this drill is all about footwork and getting in place for the shot. Then the second part is really loading, right? When you get to the ball, make sure you're loading behind the ball to make sure that you can accelerate, because the ball toss doesn't give you any pace. You're gonna have to generate your own pace. And then of course the recovery step. So that crossover and getting back to the center to recover for the next ball. All right, Ramona, so the first thing we're gonna do, we set up the tripod behind us. So we're gonna try to get that first step, right?
Nice footwork.
So now we'll get an angle to get the load here. So I'm gonna focus on the load now.
All right, here we go. Load the outside leg.
So Ramona, since we're all teaching pros, I think we want to make sure we're showing you doing work too. So we're going to put the camera closer to you to show you tossing the ball and then show the load.
Sounds good.
All right. All right, cool. We'll do one more angle to get the crossover.
All right, here we go.
I think I'm gonna pass out.
Those wheels, let's go.
I don't think the wheels are there anymore.
All right.
So we shot about less than 2 minutes of video, and now we're just gonna do the edit in the phone in one of the social media apps and come out within the less than 30-second edit.
All right, Tracy, so we know that our coaches mostly use Facebook and Instagram. Tell us a little bit about the content that they should post and how often.
So the first thing is that Facebook and Instagram really perform a little bit differently. It's understanding who that audience is.
Right.
On Facebook, it's a little bit older age demographic, while Instagram is a little bit younger of an age demographic. So if you're trying to appeal to your younger juniors, you'd probably use Instagram before utilizing Facebook. On Facebook, one of the things that are great is you can use longer form content, longer videos. People tend to absorb longer form content there better. On Instagram, Reels is a great thing, right? TikTok started it, Instagram made it maybe a little bit better, and people are doing this really short form, and that's kind of what we shot today, has, you know, more of the short form content to get that little quick hit about what we're talking about.
Awesome. So for those that are just kind of starting out, how often should they post? And for those that have been doing it for a while, what's a good average posting per day or per week?
So when we talk about posting and consistency, the first thing is to put yourself on the schedule. Just like you have a schedule of lessons, put the schedule of your content. And if you're just starting off, try to choose one day, whether it's the first day of the month, first day of the week, whatever, for every Tuesday, every first Tuesday, just try to keep it consistent. And then also for the people that are more let's say social media savvy, to be able to have serialized content, something that they can expect, whether it's Tuesday tips or Monday motivation, which are very common hashtags on every platform. Those are great ways to continue to build your content and hopefully a great following.
Tracy, that was so much fun. Thanks so much for sharing. I had a blast watching you and hitting with you. Now, every episode ends with 3 match points. What are 3 takeaways that you would like to send to our coaches?
Yeah, I mean, the first and foremost, we started with this, I'll end with this. It's be you and establish your coaching philosophy. Then the second part, have a plan. Really map out any marketing goals, any pieces of content, always have a plan. And then the third part, have fun. Shocking that I would say that, but you always want to have fun. It comes across better and always enjoy what you do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love spending time with you. You're so
It's always fun.
Thanks so much for being here. It's so much fun to have you.
All right, cool.